someone on the left, to see, who is someone on the left who's a huge fan of Mao and Maoism and of the Chinese Revolution, to be here and to witness with my own eyes these important historical revolutionary sites. The first Congress, which we visited here as well for the Chinese Communist Party. It's just beyond a dream for me, really. And a city, firstly, I live in the richest country in the world and the richest city in the world, in New York. The GDP of New York itself, New York City is higher than many countries. But yet, because it's a capitalist state, a highly racist capitalist state, of course there's very, very high levels of inequality, poverty, all the social ills that come along with it, including the divestment really from infrastructure, from the scholars call organized state abandonment, essentially, that there's no more investment. If ever there was, there's a short-lived period after the Great Depression, the period of Keynesianism, where you have the emergence of the welfare state in the U.S. That, though, the last sort of 4 or 5 decades has been about reversing that, and we now live in a moment in the U.S. where it's a normal thing to walk down the street and not have cracks in the street or on the sidewalks, and not have a functioning subway system, not have functioning public transportation. Buildings are crumbling. I work at a state university where a lot of our infrastructure is just not functioning. So, we're in a city where there's high levels of homelessness, of houselessness, people living on the streets, using drugs on the streets. 40% of students at my university where I teach are food insecure. That means they're skipping 1 meal a day because they don't have the money for it. 85 million people don't have access to health care. They don't have insurance in the U.S., health care insurance. So to come here and to see a country that has more limited and historically has been subjected to colonialism, imperialism, and exploitation by other nations, but yet has such a great infrastructure, functioning public transportation, clean streets. I have not seen one houseless or homeless person here since I've been in China. I haven't seen one person begging for money. That's not to say that there aren't people struggling, but just visibly, just going through the city, if you compare New York and Shanghai, New York and Xi'an, these are the two cities, or Beijing, I'm going on 2 days, compare side by side US cities with Chinese cities, completely different. This is, the US cities are places of organized state abandonment. The only interaction or main interaction people have, especially working class people, especially people of color, black and brown people, have with the state is through police and prisons, the repressive apparatuses of the state. Because the state is virtually absent in other places. It's extreme privatization, extreme austerity, and that has reduced the social wage and means that people really struggle in different ways in the U.S., even though it's, again, the richest country, the richest city. For me, coming to China and seeing what is possible with an alternative political economic system, it means to have redistribution of wealth, what actually existing socialism means in practice, that is really inspiring for me. That has been really a life-altering experience for me to be here.